Hello everyone, it's Lel and it's hero time once again. In this video, I am going to share my top 5 Hirogaru Sky PreCure episodes. If you have followed Magical Cinnamon throughout the Hirogaru Sky era, you know how much I loved Hirogaru Sky PreCure. I think narrative-wise and especially character-wise, it is one of the strongest PreCure seasons. And because of that, it was very hard to choose 5 favorite episodes. But you know, having a hard time and making hard decisions is part of being a PreCure fan when you try to rank things. So we did it. I did it. And also in this video, you're going to share some members' opinions on their favorite episodes as well. Thank you, Marquita. Thank you, Crystal, for sharing your opinions here with Magical Cinnamon. So let's start. So to talk about the 5th place, I want to share something specific about Hirogaru Sky. One thing that I think about the season. As I said before, I feel like the writing in the season is spectacular. And one aspect that I absolutely loved in Hirogaru Sky was the character writing. Everything about the characters in this show is magnanimous. It is, to me, perfection. And one good example of that is Elle. She's a baby. And if we look at past PreCure seasons, we had other babies. We had other baby characters that were part of the main cast, but they functioned as mascots or fairies or creatures, mysterious creatures that would give the characters powers. And I feel like they worked as characters, but also as props. Elle is a different thing. With Elle, it was different. To me, she always felt like a character standing on the same position as the other 4. She was always treated as a character. And it's not easy to develop a baby in the show. And that's what they did for the most part. And I feel like everything culminated in the episode that I chose to be my 5th place. Episode 40, Good Friends, Elle's Wedding. This is, or was, one of my favorite episodes of the season, and it's interesting because nothing really big happened in it. But if you look at the episode, there was so much soul, there was so much emotion, and especially there was a lot of the one thing that I love, which is the found family. I love the idea of the Hirogaru Sky team being a family, and especially for Elle, which was a baby, and she was living her life as a baby, and she had a family of her own. Because, you know, she couldn't stay with her parents, and it would be safer for her to be in Sorashido with the Cures. So for her, they were her family. And her relationship with Tsubasa in this episode was really amazing. The way she found to call for attention because she was not having much attention from him, and also the way that she was also able to connect with every other member of the Hirogaru Sky team in this episode and show how much she appreciates everybody. All of them love Elle, but Elle also loves them back. And the way the writing and the narrative works with emotions, especially in this episode, stellar. Really, really amazing. And now for my 4th place, I have to share another thing. Hirogaru Sky captured me in so many ways, and another way that Hirogaru Sky really got my heart was with Kabaton. He stayed as a villain for 12 episodes, and he quickly became one of my favorite PreCure villains ever. You know, I find him very hot and handsome. Yes, he is my type. But apart from that, I really loved his character. And another thing that I absolutely loved about him was the fact that he is, or he used to be, a character that would show things about the villain side, about Underg Empire, how the society works and what's important for them. He was, at the time when we knew nothing about Underg Empire, a glimpse on them. And I feel like out of all the villains from Hirogaru Sky, which were in their own ways very iconic, Kabaton really stood out to me. And one episode that I feel like showed a lot of that was my 4th place, episode 12, Tough, Curious Sky versus Kabaton. One of the things that I feel like this episode did really well was to pack so many narratives into one episode. We have the duel, we have a training, we have all the characters being relevant and important, even Ageha, who wasn't even a cure at the time. And we also have another thing that I think is really important for the season overall: what it means to be a hero. Sora battled, or Curious Sky battled, against Kabaton, and there was a treat. And at the end, Kabaton did not respect that. He still tried to attack and capture L. And because of that, Curious Sky noticed, and the others also, they started noticing the desperation from Kabaton. He was not doing it because he was extremely evil, but there was a big desperation in his actions. And because of that, Curious Sky saved Kabaton. She was able to showcase her heroic side. What does it mean to be a hero? This was a lesson that Sora learned throughout the whole season, and the answers in Hirogaru Sky were mostly out of a battle. The heroic moments from Hirogaru Sky were part of them being cures, but also part of them being humans and helping and living. And heroes do not always mean battles. But at that time, after a fierce battle against Kabaton, Curious Sky saved him. That was one of the first moments that she had a heroic action. What does it mean to be a hero? Curious Sky knows, and at that moment she was already learning. She was already taking her first steps towards her own answer. I absolutely love that moment, and I feel like it's a very iconic one in the whole season, in the whole franchise. Everything to me.
Hi, my name is Marquita, and my favorite episode of Hirogaru Sky was episode 20, when Masho decided to do the storybook contest. I loved how her friends was there for her throughout the entire process, and El-chan just loving the storybook was so adorable, and it's very inspiring.
Okay, I think there is another thing about me and Hirogaru Sky that you probably know. I am obsessed with Ageha, the last cure butterfly. I love her. I think she is one of the most iconic cures. She has become one of my favorite cures ever. And obviously, there were so many big, huge, iconic Ageha moments in this season, but I haven't mentioned her yet. I mean, I have, kinda, but not really focusing on her. But I obviously have an Ageha-focused episode in my top 5, which is number 3. In number 3, we have episode 28, Ageha's exciting fashion show. Apart from meeting the Butterfly sisters, we also learn some interesting aspects of Butterfly's life, or Ageha's life when she was a child. I think that this episode kind of defines one of Ageha's iconic traits of personality. I love that scene when they're talking about their childhood, and we discover that Butterfly's, Ageha's parents, have divorced, and Ageha stayed with one of them, and the sisters stayed with the other, so they got separated. And Mashiro got very sad over this story because the sisters, they loved themselves very much, but they had to live apart. And Ageha was like, okay, that was sad, yes, but that's in the past. Let's not mourn over that. Girl, you know, it's always age. It's always looking forward. It's always trying to get the best out of the situations. And I love that about Ageha. And this happened also during the fashion show. Ageha has a good fashion sense. We learned that in the season. And during the fashion show, she was able to take a tense moment and turn it into a good one. Elle wasn't really feeling that she was, you know, at home on stage. Stage can be scary. And, Ageha quickly jumped in. She knows how to improvise. As I said, she knows how to take a situation and make the best out of it. And that's what she did. She took it with her own hands and she won the situation for her, for Elle, and for her sisters, which she loves so much. I really love this story. I think, as I said, the highlights of Hirogaru Sky are the characters. Obviously, I feel like the whole season was good. Like every aspect of the season was good, but I feel like it is stellar when it gets to the characters. I could keep on talking about the characters here on and on and on, but obviously I'm trying to focus more on the episodes, so that's what we're gonna do. And now moving on to the second place. Oh my god, we're almost at the top. And the second place has Ageha in a very important position as well. Even though she was not the main position, I believe she kind of was. Ooh, this is... Okay, you're gonna understand. In second place, we have episode 32. Big transformation. Cure Majesty. As I said before, I love Elle as a character. And when she became Majesty, I was thinking that maybe she would grow up and become Majesty. She didn't. And that was a very nice decision because she stayed as a baby. And when she became Cure Majesty, she kind of had the same mentality as a baby. And I feel like Hirogaru Sky really worked nice with it. This episode, I feel like, again, just shows how good the character writing is. And this episode really gives us everything that I love about PreCure. So first we have, in episode 31, we had Cure Majesty appearing. And they were wondering about Cure Majesty, and Elle said, "I'm Cure Majesty." And they were like, "Girl, really?" And she tried to transform into Majesty, but she couldn't. And when I talked about Ageha being very iconic in this episode, it's because she was the one responsible for Elle turning into Cure Majesty again, basically. She took the matter into her own hands. And even though the others were like, maybe it's not Elle, she trusted her words and she knew it was Cure Majesty. She knew Elle was Cure Majesty. And instead of forcing her to become Majesty, she paved the way in many different aspects to try and give her an opportunity to become Cure Majesty again. She believed in Elle. She trusted Elle. She never diminished Elle because she's a baby or because she thought she was joking. She knew it was the truth. She trusted her. And I love this about the characters in Hirogaru Sky. They understand each other. They know each other very well. They trust each other deeply. That is why this episode is everything. And when I said this episode brings everything that I love about PreCure, this episode gave us all. It gave us comedy, funny scenes. It gave us some emotional moments as well. And it gave us a super fierce, intense, and majestic fighting scene when Elle became Cure Majesty and fought against Minaton. And it even gave us a hot villain because Minaton was also very hot. Even though I'm married to Kabaton, I can understand. Minaton was very hot. And that fighting scene was very, very iconic. And it's one of the things that we love about PreCure, right? So I just loved it. It was really, really incredible. I think this is an episode for the history books.
So this isn't original at all, but one of my favorite episodes of Hirogaru Sky was episode 50. The fights and animation were so good this episode. The goodbye scene made me tear up so much, and I'm so glad they came back right after, since I would literally not be okay if they didn't. I loved this finale so much, and it was just such a great way to end Hirogaru Sky PreCure. Never falter, hero girl.
And before we go on to the last place, here are my notes for this with my Kokomi notepad. I love this, very cute. I want to give some shout outs to 3 episodes that did not make top 5, but were very good. So we have episode 36, Ageha fails at being the best nursery school teacher. Episode 19, Ageha and Tsubasa get colorfully excited. And episode 37, Two Friends, The Tree of Memories. Those episodes were episodes that I absolutely loved too, but unfortunately they did not make it. Because, number one has to be it. I feel like it's no secret. Let's go. Number one is episode 23, Broken Dreams and Renewed Strength. When I think about Hirogaru Sky, I think about a very solid season. That means it does not have peaks. It does not have huge highlights. Everything was good through and through. But then we have episode 23, which is probably the best episode of the PreCure franchise. I know, I can be a little ahead of myself, but it's been not a long time, but it's been months already. And when I think about episode 23, I think about excellence. That was and still is probably the best story PreCure has ever told. I think one of the things that I love about Hirogaru Sky is that it takes simple things and turn into a spectacle sometimes. And episode 23, this whole story about Shalala Borg, was that. In episode 22, we had the fight of the girls against the Shalala Borg, and they crafted a plan. They just defeated the Shalala Borg, and then Cure Butterfly would jump in with the palette, use the cure, the healing power, that would be it. It's very simple, right? The situation would be simple. But Sora, in her desperation, was not able to trust what is the most important thing in Hirogaru Sky, the heroic side of the characters. She was not trusting the heroes that were around her. She was weak. She was powerless. She lost hope because they got one of the most important things for her, which is Shalala, her inspiration, her idol, her hero. But then, in episode 23, everything was resolved exactly the way they crafted in episode 22. Why is it important? To me, it is extremely important because it just goes to show that the bond that the Hirogaru team created, that everything they went through, that everything they craft together is strong enough to withstand it all. And if you don't believe me, just look at the whole season. They didn't even need a power-up to beat everybody. They were heroes through and through. They were strong, and they were able to withstand the villain side and also their own stories. They all succeeded so much in what they wanted to do because they are heroes and because they worked so hard to be heroes. All of them. No exception. Even Elle did. A little baby, she did work very hard. And episode 23 was iconic because of this aspect, but also iconic because of everything else. We had Sora, who was defeated. She let go of being Cure Sky. She could not transform anymore. We meet her family. We meet her dad. We have a very beautiful scene of her talking to her dad in the river, seeing the stars in the sky, while at the same time we have the other members of the team trying to get to her. We have Tsubasa trying to talk to her because that's what friends do, and Ageha telling him, look, that's what friends do, you're right, but also friends also give friends space when they need it. With age comes maturity. So Ageha understands that situation a little better, and that's what Cure Sky needed at that moment. But the culmination of everything was Cure Prism's or Mashiro's letter to Cure Sky. Their journey up until episode 23 was so beautiful. It was really powerful. It was something that made me super emotional. We followed how strong their bond became, and it broke at that moment, but it just took a letter from Mashiro to renew it all back, to renew Sora's trust in herself, Sora's trust in her own hero, in her hero that was inside of her. Shalala Borg almost broke it, but the bond that Mashiro and Sora created was way stronger than that. The hero that Sora was cultivating inside of her was way stronger than that, and it just needed the letter to make her rise, stand again, and fight. That moment in which we see Cure Sky beaming up in the sky and Mashiro or Cure Prism looking at her with love in her eyes, with happiness in her eyes. I will never forget that moment. And the battle, as I said, was simple. It was simple. They didn't need a big moment. They didn't need a big power up. They didn't need something huge. They just needed themselves. And that is why episode 23 is one of my favorite episodes ever. And Hirogaru Sky, what an amazing season this was. I love talking about it. I love reliving the moments. I feel like I have created so many iconic moments, iconic memories because of Hirogaru Sky. And I love it so much. Incredible, incredible, incredible moment. Before I go on, I just want to say that the Hirogaru Sky era here at Magical Cinnamon isn't over yet, because we still have the Hero Cine Awards that is coming soon for you to vote for your favorite moment from Hirogaru Sky, the Oscar of the PreCure franchise. Oh my god, who is gonna win the Golden Kururun? Anyways, babies, this is it for now. I'm gonna take this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. Also, thank you to the members who sent videos. Thank you very much. Also, please share your favorites in the comment. What were your favorite moments and episodes from Hirogaru Sky PreCure? Anyways, babies, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye!